Welcome to the shitcoin.com show, everyone. As always, I'm here with Andreas Brecken.
Hello.
And this week we have a very special guest. Welcome back, longtime friend of shitcoin.com, former World Series poker player, and now full-time dad, Bryan Micon. Welcome, Bryan.
Thank you very much. I do take a little bit of offense to the friend. What is this? Friend of the show? I am the director of Autistic Communication at shitcoin.com. I'm not a friend of the show. I'm an integral member of the C-suite.
Yes.
Okay.
Well, you are not in the C-suite. You're in the D-suite. You're a director.
Fine. Oh shit! I am in the D-suite. I should have given myself a better title.
Well, it's weird because when people join shitcoin.com,
D-suite.
Yeah, when people join shitcoin.com, I always say one of the perks is that you can choose your own C-level title. It can be anything. It pays nothing, and it comes with a lot of potential legal liability.
And then those are the type of gigs when I hear that I'm saying, sign me up.
Yeah, that's why I'm so surprised that everybody else went for a C title. So I'm the chief enchilada officer. Blake, I believe, is the chief meme officer. Zane Tackett, I believe, is the chief shilling officer.
And I haven't met the entire team yet. I have not met the whole team, I guess.
Oh yeah, we'll have to do a get together.
I'm the only D level Zane Tackett. No, I'm a recluse. I just sit in my island and I just, raise my kid. That's it. That's what I do.
Yeah,
I don't know. I don't even read. I just full recluse.
Well, it's because you live inside of virtual reality.
Essentially. I'm the only D-suite member of the organization. Everybody else is a C-suite title, motherfucker.
Yeah, I think even the accountant is above you.
I use the shirt because I wore the shirt. I have my DAC shitcoin.com shirt, and I wore it to go pick my kid up one day from school. And there's a bunch of 7-year-olds, and they all like me. I'm Uncle Bryan, bring virtual reality to game night and shit. And then the one kid starts trying to spell it out. And, it's all fucked up, like schizophrenically written. But, he starts spelling out S-H-I-T. I'm like, oh, fuck. I can't wear this shirt anymore to go pick up kids. This is only the wipe up cum shirt. This is the shirt next to the bed. Sometimes I sleep with the shirt over the eyes. And then eventually, 3 days of sleeping with the shirt over the eyes, it becomes the wipe up cum shirt. And then, I'm just saying, I'm just being real with you where the shitcoin.com shirt fits in now. And it's not because it's a very comfortable shirt. I like it. It's a comfortable cotton. But the kids, I can't have them reading out profanity, so I can't wear it, Yeah. You guys don't think about these things. You don't have kids. You don't know. Know what it's
we do think about it. That's why it was written the way it was.
Yeah. But we didn't think through the whole spelling part. So But we're actually looking at doing a fresh run very soon. So we'll have to do a very limited edition custom version, which is got the letters even more scrambled up so that
good. Yes.
Super autistic.
Yes.
So
yes.
Yeah, we can use use a star to hide the letters, so maybe it's like an asterisk instead of the I.
I'm not one for censorship usually. I'm not one for censorship most times.
No, this is moderation. It's not censorship.
This is thinking of the children. That's it's very different.
Yeah.
I miss you guys.
How is living? We too are spending our time on an island in the middle of the ocean. How is quarantine on a big rock? How's that treating you?
Yeah, it's a good question. Up until a couple of days ago, life was relatively normal. So for a good long while everybody else was freaking out, it was just essentially, distancing, but also somewhat business as usual. And then a couple of days ago here, the prime minister, local ruler of this region, said that everybody has to stay in the house except from the hours of 7 a.m. to noon. Now, I don't know how he arbitrarily chose noon. That seems rather odd. Maybe 4, maybe 5, right before it goes down, the sun goes down. But he chose noon. So from 7 to noon, you're packing more people in a smaller amount of time to go, to the grocery store and do all the essential shit and get to the pharmacy and whatnots. And so we've been dealing with that for a couple of days here. It's probably set to go on for another week-ish, probably, maybe longer, maybe indefinitely, who the fuck knows what a rando government's going to do. But it's, there's food in all the grocery stores. It's everybody's staying at their house. Most people are following orders. As soon as like noon, 1 p.m. comes around, you hear nothing. Usually there's like a weed whacker you could hear, and like, some cars going by, kind of in the distance. But now you just hear birds, and it's kind of crazy.
What is the population of Antigua?
There's about 100,000 people here at any given time, with some percentage of that being tourists. Not super significant, maybe 20-ish%.
Where we're at,
stuff down south.
Here in the Gulf of Thailand somewhere, it's the population is like 10,000.
10,000, yeah. I think, and it's supposed to fluctuate with. That's not including tourists, but even then, now there aren't that many here. I'd probably say another 5K.
Yeah, so we were talking about there's a lockdown here as well. There's a curfew from 10 p.m. until 4 a.m. I think. But we were talking about this yesterday. The population is like maybe 10K, and the island has been locked off. Like people are not coming in or out, especially in. So like, how long do you have to keep this up? Because there's not a lot of people here.
Yeah, when do you start like doing everything, going back to normal, but in isolation, Be interesting. I wonder what the government plan for that one is.
So there's two sides here. So I've been, obviously, like a lot of other people, just consuming tons of information on what's happening. And I sort of come from a doctor family background, so I like to listen to the virologists and the epidemiologists. And they're like, this is like their fucking World Series. Like you don't even get a pandemic once a generation. Like a real good worldwide pandemic. Last one, 1919, really. So
this is such a fantastic time to be in those professions. It's like
that's the thing, and they never know.
So
like they
sick.
deal with, like they've for the last since like 06 or whatever, they've been giving speeches on MERS, which didn't really get past the Middle East. But they're like, hey, the big one's coming, and everyone's like, ha, we don't fucking care. We have iPhones and TikTok, bitch. And so Simp Nation, and like so then they just now everybody, every CNN, all the traditional media sources, every single Rogan and good podcast, everybody wants these guys, and so they've put out a lot of information. That's the shit you should be listening to, not your like obvious choose your echo chamber network news. Like you want to just go right to the fucking doctors and listen to the science. And we're in uncharted territories. In 1919 we didn't have ventilators and didn't keep good records, and now we have like an incredible amount of technology, usually wielded inefficiently by governments. But, now it's kind of like go time, come all together. You ask how long they're going to lock down. That's the second part of this. The first part is the science, and the second part is the human response. How is your government, your local rulers going to respond? What crazy laws are they going to come up with? I promise you it'll involve surveillance. I promise you surveillance of yourself and your person or your cell phone
of course,
data.
because that will be how, like optimally, you'd have all smartphones to have like a mandatory, temperature reader somehow, and they would have to report in every hour.
Yeah,
have it just take your blood
for the entire population, for its own safety.
Just do an antibody test right from the USB port every 30 minutes
for sure.
or so. Find a new pinprick. Otherwise, all your services.
Yeah, I mean that is not that is not unlikely at all.
Did you see that graph that they showed? They're like, this is how the spring breakers in Florida. I don't care if I get COVID-19, if I get Corona, I don't care. Then like it said, here's a cell phone.
But they're also
teenagers,
teenagers,
where all those
right?
people went. sure, 21-year-old idiots, whatever. I was one once too. But did you see they showed a cell phone heat map of where all those people went after the party was over? Did you guys see that? That it, I don't know, it
No.
made its way around
I
Twitter.
didn't see it, but
Which,
I know this is very easy with
it's this.
what's it, Peter Thiel's startup? They do this.
Yeah, Plantier shit for sure. And it's, or no, it's not Plantier. It's the other one. Whatever, doesn't matter. The heat map is beautiful. It looks like a team of fucking UI designers, you know, had spent years on that shit. And it just shows these things. You see all the phones, you know, leaving from Fort Myers Beach and then spreading all over the country in the Midwest and the South and New York. And you just see it all happening and you're like, holy shit. And then everyone's like, well, look, this is why we have to do social distancing. And this is why you wear masks or not masks or whatever the fuck. But the real fucking story is, holy shit, they have that, like, that's polished to that point that, like, it's just snap it off and show the video of what happened. Like, fuck me. Like, we're fucked. We lost already. It's over, man.
Yeah, I mean, I've been saying this forever. Privacy, I guess, has always, to some degree, been a luxury. So it's something that rich people can afford. If you're not rich, like, you're just going to be bought and sold all day. If it's not your physical body, it'll be your identity, your privacy. I guess to some extent, your thoughts. That's just how it is.
Well said. Well said. I mean, it's not even just rich though anymore. It's like you need to be rich and paranoid. There's plenty of rich people with, like,
yeah. I mean, it's a luxury. You don't have to buy it, but it's hard to afford it.
Fair. And you have to remain truly independent. I have so many friends. Here's the work computer. Oh yeah, they monitor my email. It's like, well, what about that webcam and all that? Like, I mean, what about the microphone and the computer? Like, you just don't care, or, like, you know, you're just gonna let them spy on you whenever you want because they pay you because you're a semi well-paid wage slave. I don't know.
Yeah, but I think just most of the times people just don't. It's already been happening for far too long, and they just get comfortable with that, right? Like, if you're sitting there using your work computer, you're not sitting there thinking like, oh man, they're tracking my emails. You're like, I just want to watch Netflix. Like,
and it's so tough because if everything you do and say is recorded, like, there's a lot of things you're not thinking about. It could be somebody in your family or maybe a friend from work or something that are doing something the government doesn't like. And if you're close to this person, you will also be monitored. That's just how it is. And it's also tough because if it's all monitored and stored, like probably Zoom does, but they store it in China instead of Skype storing at Microsoft, then if you're always recorded, it could be that you're doing something that is not illegal yet. It could become illegal. And that's it's a bit tough because what if it's easier to catch people that are doing something that is now illegal that wasn't a few years ago? The easiest way to catch them is just to go back to old footage and see who was up to that while it was still legal. So you get into so many problems here.
Shoot with side shift AI. Good luck.
It's like I mean, I know you remember the early Bitcoin days, Andreas, where, like, there was like a lot of libertarian paranoid nerds around at the time. And they were all envision this future that we are so lucky and, like, you know, really what a time to be alive, to, like, enjoy today. And they were thinking about, like, wait, what I'm doing now, Cassius making his physical coins, like, just down to, like, really benign things. He's like, well, I better do it now because it's, you know, there's certainly, once this thing gets big, there's certainly going to be illegal. And man, look at this fun sandbox time where we can actually do some cool shit real quick before it comes crashing down, which it did, you know, and it did, and we did, and it did. But yeah, same kind of shit. Yeah, it might be illegal later. The landscape.
Yeah, I mean, in Bitcoin, the paranoid people have been correct. So the best time, how to best spend your time in early Bitcoin days was probably to come up with privacy solutions before you actually have to hide.
And instead we got things like Civic.
Identity on the blockchain.
We got many things. We got Civic, we got Lightning Network. We got a lot of civil wars, disagreements. But I think the focus should be on privacy.
I thought that when I first found Bitcoin, I thought it worked like Monero.
Same.
I just assumed they would have made it like totally anonymous, and like they would have just absolutely like, oh, of course, like you would never, add any pseudonymity to it. Of course, you'd make it totally 100% anonymous, so that like we really have this powerful payment tool.
Yeah, I mean that's in the early days of Silk Road and all that. Silk Road worked as a mixer, but like the users didn't know that. The sellers did.
It was such a high percentage of Bitcoins, of total Bitcoins, were sailing through there in the early days. That like, yeah, it was the natural mixer of everybody.
And then I guess Satoshi dies to some extent.
Yeah, when it was
no,
still
that doesn't
on-chain,
work because it pays you with your own money.
Oh, no, it sends a TX. I remember playing with it.
It sends you your money back.
It sends you your own coins. Yeah, it sends you your coins plus the winning coins. All on chain, LOL.
Yeah, we've I've been working on this for SideShift, where we have we can do an atomic coin exchange now. So you can change
That's
from
hot.
Yeah, you can change from Bitcoin Cash to Bitcoin Cash tokens, like SLP tokens. And there's already a stable coin called a USDH. So you can exchange Bitcoin Cash for USDH, and it's like less than 5 seconds. Because
why no confirm? But no confirm. But no confirm. How does it work?
Yeah, we do the same as Satoshi dies. So we send you the USDH, but in the same, we have the Bitcoin Cash you sent to us is included as an input to this transaction.
Oh, so
if you double spend us, you don't get
the
anything.
Token. You don't get the token.
Yeah, it's the first one I've ever seen.
That's really cool. That's really smart. Who thought of that?
I did. Well, I mean, obviously the credit is to Satoshi Dice, and I think the CTO of Bitcoin.com, Emil, I think he was talking about it a bit. And
it's really cool. It's a great way to prevent the double spend, to include
the
input with it. So it just
I mean, I would love to do it with more stuff. I think you can do it with more stuff, especially side chains. I'm sure you can do something. And you
Did drive chain ever become a thing?
They're still working on it. They're working on. They're doing releases like every day, I think, with improvements to the code, security, the UX, all that.
Sweet, and it still needs to. No, it's just it's just so crazy what's happened. Like the tangents that are everywhere. It's so hard for me to follow. I still try to follow like everything I'm interested in every day, but that's become essentially like a task you can't complete.
Yeah.
There's just too many projects. There's too much cool shit.
You mean in Bitcoin or in the whole space?
In like the whole space. Like I fucked around with Decentraland just to see what happened. Like one of those massive ICOs that like years later actually shipped a product. Like that's now that's the bar is low. But like, hey, they did it. Like, I just wanted to like see what happened, Like not that I'm like even financially like invested. It just I just like what happened? Like did it work or not?
Did you get some land?
I mean I do not discuss any of my crypto holdings personally.
Yeah.
Will not.
Well, that's
I will not.
Wait, is the token called land?
Well, you can buy land on assets on it, right? Like, I don't know too much about it.
It's Ethereum based. There's it's Ethereum. And to be fair, neither did I. And then I'm just like, wait, what the fuck happened? So I learned about it. And it's Mana is an Ethereum ERC20 token that is the currency for Decentraland. And then there's pieces of land that are non-fungible tokens that represent the pieces on the in-game virtual world. And once you own a piece, you can build whatever you want. Adult themed things, gambling things. They have like universities and dumb shit games and things. But it's just whatever you want. It was like the true ownership of like a second lifestyle world. And that was like a really interesting idea to me. That's like why I got in,
Is it similar to crypto voxels?
Yes, it is very similar to crypto voxels.
Which one is the better one?
Like, I think Decentraland was like the big ICO, raised tons more money, like it's the big production. But when I clicked onto crypto voxels too, and I thought it was reasonable. Like, oh, like a little world you own, that you can make stuff. But they didn't allow whatever on crypto voxels. They didn't allow like the adult or the gambling. They said maybe later or something.
Okay.
But they wanted to keep that one PG-13, which is disqualifying for me. Everything I like.
Yeah, you should start with
focused.
You should start with just everything allowed, and then once it becomes popular, just maybe remove, the Hitman shop and the fireworks shop.
I'm not sure anybody's ever been murder for hired over the internet ever, and like always like though. This is why darknet's so bad, is because people
what's the name of that?
Get people killed for Bitcoin. It's like the people are going to buy weed from each other. You know what they're going to do, and coke.
Yeah, what's her name? Ornsby or something. Her name starts with an E. We'll find her name and link it in the show notes. She's a Silk Road expert. Like, she just loves that website. She and all the other darknet markets. And she wrote a book about darknet markets and their history in Bitcoin. And she says that she's never seen any proof of any murder for hire. It's all, they're all scams. So if you pay the money, they will keep the money and possibly extort you. And it's all fake. It's all scams.
I can't wait to read that book. Please make sure to post that in the notes. If I can get that on a Kindle, that shit's coming in immediately.
Yeah, we will.
It's available. I've read it.
Do you ever check the darknets? I try to figure out what's happening on them like once every couple of years. Like, I have no real use for them, but like I want to know really badly what's happening. Like, did the idea survive? Are people using it? If so, in what numbers? Like, that's really fascinating to me.
Yeah, they definitely still are. It's just interesting. I know probably a year ago, they went through a big phase of shutting down a ton of markets, didn't they? But it just like organically keeps popping up. Really, really interesting. It's checking out. It's called Dread, which is it's the dark net version of Reddit, which is pretty spicy.
Ooh.
It's very, very interesting. Imagine Reddit, but with loads of drugs and loads of like drug talk and stuff.
I think I saw it. I think I dove in like a couple, like maybe 6 or 10, maybe last year. Time fucking flies here. I tried to just like find what was going on or what was the market. Is it Silk Road 8.0 or something now? Like what the fuck happened? And I think I ran across that Dread site, and it was. I remember like.
Oh, that's nice because on Reddit, whenever I like any subreddit, it gets banned.
Oh yeah.
Everything I like. Every single thing. And it's just, because like, if I go to Reddit, it's because I want you to join these subreddits. There are like crazy cults, this hive mind is going to greater and greater extremes every day. I mean, what were the first Reddits to get banned? It was like, I was not subscribed, but I remember Jailbait went.
Oh yeah, I remember that one. That was a big debate.
Yeah, big one. There's Fat People Hate. There was
Fat People Hate is what did it for me. That one was like, okay, so we're really now way past the whole, it's an open platform, you can really say what you want. Fat People Hate was what like killed Reddit, like the ethos.
Yeah, I think so. And it's it's one of those things like even if it's not my thing, I will die defending your right to hate on fat people if you want to.
And there was a lot of people
yeah.
this was a widely appealing subreddit. There was a lot of people that want. No, it's good. It's the Socratic method. Like we're done with that. Like it's all, oh, I'm offended, but like it should be like, hey, you're very unhealthy being that fat. Like these are facts, and like it's not. I got bones, and then now there's like 4% that are like, I have the thyroid issue. Like, okay, like I'm sorry. Like, you know what? I'm sorry. That one was a medical issue. But the 96% that are just live on fucking McDonald's and Walmart, I was speaking to you. You're fucking unhealthy. You need to do something about it. It's fucking embarrassing. I don't know. It seems fine. It like helps them. You know, maybe they'll be like, oh, I don't want people laughing at me. Oh, I'm gonna hit the fucking gym.
Oh wow.
Welcome to Side Shifty, the rapid coin swap.
I wanted to ask you as well, Bryan, as a man in the know on the gambling side of things, what interesting new gambling markets have you seen since everyone's been locked indoors? Anything fun?
Oh, my Twitter is like a schizophrenic mix of like drones, Bitcoin, and poker. Like, and the poker players have gone batshit during this because this is like, they're built for this. They're built to like sit home. There's been a lot of gambling over the years. Can I stay in a Bellagio bathroom with the lights off for like 10 days or something? You know, there's all these bets that like on like to try to test your sanity. Fuck, one tournament at the Rio is a fucking test of your sanity for 3 days. And there was the girl today, it was Melissa Burr. She had a bet to eat 60 chicken nuggets on live stream.
Did it happen already?
She did. She got 65. She ate 65 McDonald's chicken nuggets.
Oh, I was gonna watch that.
I was going to watch it.
How much money was on?
It's difficult to tell, and it's, you know, you don't know. It's difficult.
But like $1,000 or like $100K.
Oh no. Oh no. Between like side action of everybody in the poker world taking shots at it with nothing else to bet on, I would bet a larger volume, and I'll bet the largest bets you'll never hear about. No one tweeted about it. It's just two people that are like, you know, Dan Bilzerian looks right at, you know, Rick Solomon. He's like, all right, I'm down 300K, double or nothing on if the bitch eats the fucking nuggets. What line? 60.1. You know, 60 and a half. Now give me 61 and I'll make it, you know, 200K. Yeah, and then that's probably that kind of bets we're probably going down on it. But publicly, I think in the tens of thousands. I think publicly tens, hundred. I don't know. So yeah, no, I mean enough that it's
like, how do you even buy 65 nuggets? You know, such a weird number.
I think she said she bought like 4 20-packs.
Oh, I see. Okay.
And she got high, so it was like, that's a joke.
Oh, are you allowed to do that?
I like my jokes explained. 420, you know, like right. A lot of stoners. It's like the weed number. And she ate edibles, so that's funny. That's funny. And I think, I'm not totally sure, I only watched 7 minutes. My girl Veronica something was doing the commentary. The girl that exposed the Mike Postle whole card cheater. I don't know how much poker really makes it over into the shitcoin.com, but there was a great cheating scandal where a guy had an RFID scanner. It was on SportsCenter, like it was a real big cheat. He's getting sued. It was on TMZ. There was a little TMZ from the girl suing him.
And if you play in Nevada, that's a crime.
Oh, and this is in California. He cheated on stream. It was a streamed game where there's RFID chips in every card, so that the thing can so that you can produce a stream with whole cards. And he had the brain. He's alleged to have had the output of all the whole cards on his phone, and so and he played for like a year. And all this footage was online. So all the nerds poured through it. You can see him looking at his crotch and then making the perfect play like every time.
Wow.
Yeah. Yeah.
Man,
and the girl that caught him had a stream of this chick eating the nuggets.
How much did he
was
profit
up a couple. It was some obscene amount when they graphed the win rate. It was like a couple $100,000. I don't remember. It was like 250,000 at $1, $3 mostly. So like he's up just like He's up like he wins like 300 big bets per hour, like 150 big bets per hour. Where like a winning poker player can like if you squeeze out 8 or 10, you're like doing pretty good. He's 20xing that. So it's just an obvious cheat. Over a year, 20xing that win rate over a year.
Oh man. I'm trying to think what interesting other crypto news we've had lately that may be of interest. Has anything caught your eye in like the last week? It's been pretty vanilla. When we sorting out the shitcoin.com newsletter, which goes out every week, guys. Sort of plug that. Yeah, we haven't been as spicy as normal.
Yeah, I think people are tiptoeing around a lot of topics.
Yeah, because you don't want to put anything out that might be seen as like in bad taste.
I mean,
yeah.
I've been like reminiscing recently. I've been like going like old school. Like, hey, is Filecoin a thing yet? Like, is Luke Dash Jr. Did he say anything recently? Because that's usually
true.
Rocks the crypto world. Like, is Jim Friend? Are we still doing Jim Friend? Because I'm like kind of a recluse. I don't really follow it as close as I should. Is Jim Friend over? Did they do that?
Yeah, I mean, not as prominent. I think it's just kind of like faded into obscurity. Because I know there were a few like legal things around that. I think when they were.
Yeah, that was
oh shit.
That was such a sad one because, it was Samsung's sort of defensive reaction and starting to use the word like feminism. That's what made the meme both like hard to approach, but also edgy.
Yeah.
And it's Streisand affected from there, if I recall.
Yeah, because if he had replied with something funny, or just like say it's like such a cheap Bcash meme and just like Photoshop Roger in or Calvin, like you could have flipped this around in a really funny way so effortlessly. And Samsung is very good at making memes. So it's like the only time he goes a little defensive, everybody's like, get him.
Yeah, they found the weak spot.
Well, you can't sell a hat that says toxic and then cry foul over like a funny meme. Like, I mean, that's just like, I mean, that's not a move. I mean, that's just not a valid move in the game. You're gonna get called on that every time.
Those hats are very good quality, by the way. They're actually really well made.
Mm-hmm.
They're Andreas has got several. I haven't got one.
Do you really?
But yeah, let me just go.
Oh yeah, we go to the hat basket.
You have a hat basket on your island?
We have a hat basket. Hold on.
They've left me. The show is mine.
Yeah. Well, we have one here.
Oh, these are amazing. This is the Blockstream Spy hat.
Obviously, the viewers at home will not be able to see this, but we can add some of them into the graphics. So Andreas has got a few there.
So you got your Reckless Lightning hat.
Oh wow!
And then you have the other one. You got your Blockstream Spy.
Yeah. Multiple.
You boys were drinking one night and you were clicking buttons and sending fucking digital payments to get goods.
You got everyone, right? I feel like that.
Of course you got it.
Yeah. It was Samson Mao. He sent it to me.
After I saw both versions of the Reckless Lightning shirt or hat, I knew that was the Andreas. All of them. No, do you really want? Yes,
yeah, of course.
All of them, everyone. Yes, both.
Yeah,
colors.
I mean the reason for this is I think it's great because it's good to trigger the Bitcoin Cash people as much as you can, because they're always sort of attacking the BTC people. So it's good to keep them on their toes.
I'm at this at this stage, I don't even listen. I can't listen to that fight. I've listened to it for so many years, and I don't listen to the fight. There's shit that's awesome on the BCH chain. The world still embraces BTC right now. As soon as I saw Cash Shuffle run on the incline on the BCH the first time, the light bulb went off. I'm like, oh, look, they took that last step to make it Monero. Like, holy shit, you know. And then like you start to really think about it. Oh, you can't do that on the BTC chain. Sorry, it's just too expensive. No one's just gonna light their money on fire at that rate. But if it only is just a couple, you know, if it's just a couple dust pieces, everybody will, you know, it's very useful all of a sudden. And I mean, there's the other part of like the digital gold thing that we saw, and like the price action over the last couple of weeks during the stock market dump has been incredibly, like, there's your crypto news, is that the Bitcoin price tracked the S&P 500 for some fucking reason during a massive stock crash. And it seems like it may have decoupled, but at the risk of sounding like one of those chartist idiots, or like one of those 2018 accounts with like a pretty female in the Twitter that's like, here's some charts with some fucking lines on it, like, join my fucking paid group. At the risk of sounding like one of those fucking idiots, I think it may have decoupled and starting to act gold-like, but you can't say that around Peter Schiff, because it's not necessarily gold, because that's stupid, but it's doing something. It didn't do the flight to safety, inflation, you know, protection thing. It didn't do that when the stock market crashed, when the Fed decided the money printer would go brrr. I haven't gotten a chance to do it yet. Sorry, I know that's even like a week old or something, but you know, I don't get out of the house much. So when that happened, the price still fell along with the S&P, which was really weird. That you know, a lot of us were like, wait, that wasn't the plan. The plan was money printer go burr and fucking orange coin go up. That's what everybody was expecting, and it didn't happen. And it's just, you know, 100 people will give 100 takes on why. I won't, because I'm smarter than that. I don't fucking know.
Isn't the simplest explanation, isn't it simply that when something bad happens, like a pandemic, then people quickly understand that they might not be getting paid as much for working as they used to, and that prices could go up because of hoarding, and that maybe they should also do some hoarding of their own. So your expenses are up and your income is down. So the rational thing to do is to start selling things to make sure you have capital reserves. And what's the easiest to sell? I mean, the easiest to sell is going to be your equities, you know, your S&P 500. It costs you very little to go in and out of these index funds. So you sell that first. And then you're sat there in your apartment with a wife and a kid, and you don't know how long it's going to be. So maybe you start selling some of your Bitcoin because it's fairly easy as well. But if you have physical gold or gold stocks, that kind of thing, you probably hold those things because you know you don't have to sell them unless it goes really, really bad. So it just gets sold much later. Is the world that easy?
I think you're close. I mean, if I had to take a guess, I mean, I led with a big I don't fucking know, just to make sure to qualify all future statements, like, you know, with a low level of confidence. But I mean, you're really close. I think it was something like, yeah, first thing that you cash, where like Bitcoin, I think, is still like a speculative asset. And I mean, the crypto space in general, certainly BCH as well, where like it's a speculative thing. And so the first thing that you dump, like you just said, all right, wages go down. Most people that are holding it aren't live, die, all in Bitcoin every day. And so they sell it. It's the speculative asset that you sell. Like, yeah, that you liquidate quickly for cash when shit goes bad. I think you're right. I think that's what happened. I think that's why S&P goes down. Bitcoin also goes down. Crypto market as a whole, obviously. I think
and I
that's
mean
what
this
happened.
because it's a
don't know.
speculative asset, everything will be multiplied. So all the hedge funds out there owning crypto, they probably did the same reasoning, and they think, oh, we should sell too before they do.
Sure. It's worldwide aggregate supply demand. Everyone always asks, why does the price go up? Well, worldwide aggregate demand outpaced supply. Why did the price go down? Well, the other thing happened. The supply outpaced demand, and that's it. And like you mentioned, a lot of those players that might be, one little cog in the big equation there. And yeah, it seemed like everybody wanted to sell because China virus go big and the economy shut down.
But like you said, the good news is that BTC is pumping a little bit, which is nice to see. It might not be by the time this actually goes out, but we'll soon find out if this is gonna last. But yeah, that's promising, like you said, to see that maybe it has decoupled a little bit.
But the stock market pumped huge too today. Stock market and BTC both pumped today, and so it's.
What's the Dow Jones these days?
For me, first of all, like even though as much as Trump loves the Dow Jones, it's not a terrible indicator, but like the S&P 500 is like that's the real number that I think people should be following.
Oh, the old SPY.
The SPY, and if you want to and I think SPY is the best one, the ETF of the S&P 500, because it's just easy. It's SPY, it's SPY, and then the number, instead of being in the in the tens of thousands, you just say SPY is at 266, and everybody knows what that means. Everybody knows the low was SPY 220 back there. It kind of bounced to 250 back, and it was at the all-time high of 330 before it dumped down to 220. The American stock market losing 33% of value or whatever, about a third haircut. What is that, a shitcoin?
Yeah.
that is a shitcoin.
And then the currency that it's delimited in gets like furiously printed at trillions of dollars at a clip. I mean, jeez, fuck, man.
This is all a simulation.
I find more and more evidence for simulation theory over time. I'm sorry, just it still doesn't answer the question. You have to explain the sim world. So I mean, it's just the same cop out as religion. But man,
so it's like when you're playing Sim City, and the game is too easy, so you click the button to send like a random SS on you, which could also be, I believe, Godzilla. Or was it like a dinosaur?
There was a mythical animal figure that destroyed it. Yeah, I remember that would be released. And do you think? Wait, so you think the RNG just chose pandemic?
Yeah.
This time. What's the next one going to be? I don't know, but I think it's time to nail some breakfast. I can see it's getting to the end of your day, Bryan. But Bryan, how does everyone keep up with you? And I know we can follow you on Twitter at Bryan Micon. But yeah, what's the best way to keep up with what you're up to?
This is the best part. I've remained completely independent, so I don't fucking care to shill anything. I don't fucking care. Just if you want to, follow me on Twitter if you really need to get into the mind, I guess. There you go.
And your YouTube channel.
Fuck it. And my YouTube channel, Micon FPV. You can see me fly drones. Be one of my 200 subscribers.
I won.
I don't think I'm actually a subscriber. Man, what am I doing? But yeah, thanks a lot. Thank you so much for joining us today on this quarantine special. Looking forward to the next one.
Yeah, Micon, it's been a pleasure. I love you, man.
I love you so much, Andreas. I miss you both so much. I'm sorry, Blake. I do love Andreas a little bit more, but I mean, I do miss you also. I do miss you also, but we have a weird soul bond. It's just strange.
It is true.
I really like
right,
you.
thank
Like,
you,
I really
Mike.
like you, Blake. I really do.